Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com.
I'm Bob. Happy Friday.
Welcome back to our Top 5 Fridays ski industry news videos. Pretty quick week for news, I'd say.
Some interesting things in here.
Oh, I'd say so, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Before we get into the news, here's another comparison preview. I like this. This has been fun.
The preview on Friday.
Kind of showing the skis and
building the momentum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And very likely what's going to happen this season is we won't have more than one a week. And hopefully people have noticed, but a big reason for that is this is the first year that we're producing those comparison videos in 4K. And if you've ever produced a 2-hour-long 4K video, you can understand some of the struggles that I'm dealing with, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah, it seems like YouTube doesn't really enjoy the...
No, YouTube does not like the processing.
The amount of processing that goes on.
It takes a really long time.
Yeah.
A kind of a ridiculously long time.
Well, that's what you get for making a 2-hour video every week.
Yeah, fair enough. I like this category. I know I said that about the 110 category too, but I always like giving the mid-80 skis a little bit more attention.
It's funny the amount of people that commented on the 110 that says, yes, this is the category. You'll get an equal amount of skiers that see this and be like, yes, this is the one I've been waiting for. This is for me.
Yeah, well, and I think there's always like a reasonable argument that like the general skiing population is better off here.
Yeah. Like, you know, talking up to Matt when we were unwrapping these, I'm like, the 110s, that's the dream. This is the reality.
Right. And for some people, obviously, the reality is closer to the dream.
Yep.
But for a lot of people, the dream
never
never happens. It's always a dream.
Yep.
So, anyways, Bob, before we get into the ski industry news, tough morning for the United States Ryder Cup team.
I was not following as closely as you, apparently.
I was proud. This seems like a good time of any to share this. I woke up at 1:30 this morning to watch the start of the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, it sounds like the middle of the night.
I went back to bed at 3 and then slept a little more and then woke up for the start of the afternoon matches.
Knowing what you know now, would you have done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, watching the first hour on TV was exciting because the crowd was all fired up.
Yeah, looks like a cool venue.
Oh, super cool. Yeah. I've really enjoyed, I obviously didn't get to watch much once I got here, but really enjoyed what I got to see of that course so far, and people are probably really annoyed right now. So we will shift gears and get right into ski industry news. First topic of the week, Silverton Mountain has been sold. It has specifically been sold to Andy Culp and Brock Strasburger, co-owners of Heli Adventures Incorporated. Heli Adventures Incorporated is really like a true adventure company. They offer a number of different experiences, all kind of trip-based, so yoga retreats, safaris, fly fishing expeditions, diving trips. I could go on.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. So last December, they acquired a heli operation in Alaska, and then this is kind of their second specific foray into the ski world. And I would say that all signs point towards Silverton being in good hands going forward. In fact, I didn't jot down what are now the previous owners' names, but they were specifically looking for somebody who could buy it and take up the reins in a fashion that they were happy with.
Right. So I picked up contingencies were keep all the employees and keep it as it is.
Right.
My question is what happens after these people sell it? You know, I think that there's a lot of real, Silverton diehard fans out there, very purist. And
like
that's
Mike
kind of
downstairs.
Yeah, and that's kind of the spirit of the place.
Yeah.
So, that group certainly hopes beyond all hope that these contingencies will then extend into subsequent ownerships if there are any or how many there are.
One can only hope.
Yeah.
But in the immediate, it seems like Silverton is going to remain Silverton.
Yep.
So that's it. Second topic of the week. This one's pretty interesting. I always like when we circle back to those old transportation issues in Utah. It's been a common thread here at
Talk about it all day.
Yeah. So the Utah Transport Authority has announced a reduced number of ski buses this winter, or rather like reduced frequency of those ski buses. So buses running up and down Little and Big Cottonwood Canyon will now run every half an hour rather than every 15 minutes. And you might be thinking, that seems like a terrible idea, because all we've been talking about over the past few years is how hard the transportation is out there and how difficult it is to get up into the mountains. And a lot of that has to do with congestion from traffic, limited parking, all that kind of stuff. So carpooling and public transportation are like the solutions.
Right.
So obviously reducing the amount of buses is not ideal, and it's simply just due to staffing challenges, which feels like a pretty consistent theme in a lot of industries right now.
You really you can't get the service without the staff.
Yeah.
And that's just the bottom line.
Right.
And,
whether we talk about it with ski town employment and stuff like that, like it's
like restaurants, we've seen it here in Stowe. Like, hey, if you're going to want to go out on a Saturday on a crowded week, like you're going to have to wait.
Yep.
Like that's just the way it is.
Yeah, or like a lot of restaurants here in Stowe, like don't open on a Wednesday,
right.
Or they'll just they'll pick a day of the week and they just don't open because they have to manage their resources.
I would think that like a big municipality like Salt Lake though would be a little more insulated versus like the very specific ski town, like that centric model.
I kind of agree. So much so that I wonder if this will change in the next couple months. Because basically what they're citing right now is they have 101 open bus driver positions out of like 900, I think was close to the total number. And like given the population of Salt Lake City, I would think it would be easy to fill 101 bus driver positions, but clearly not.
Yeah. I don't know. I wish them the best at getting up their canyons.
I feel like my last note here is just pointless to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. This will undoubtedly just further complicate an existing issue.
Yes. Well, and like you think about it, like with the schedule, like if you think 15 minutes isn't such a big deal, like between buses, it's just going to cause a backlog after backlog after backlog. Right. Like it's not just 15 minutes, it's 15 minutes plus all of those people
waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just increasing as time goes.
I mean, I suppose is there a silver lining that potentially it'll result in reduced skier traffic? Probably not, because it sounds like the...
I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not like a lack of people wanting to go skiing. It's a lack of...
It's a lack of parking.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
That's the main issue.
Anyways, I'm sure we'll have more to say about this in coming weeks and months whenever we get the next update from Utah. Now, third topic of the week, another interesting one. Big Sky has updated its trail map to include the double blue trail ranking label?
Designation?
Label, whatever you want to call it. So this requires a little bit of historical context. So some green circle trails were found to have headwall pitches that were too steep for beginners. That's kind of how this all started. Those trails were then changed to blue squares, which they felt created too much inconsistency between these new blue squares and existing blue squares with steeper terrain.
So I know I'm not misremembering this, but we've always had like the blue square with the black diamond in the middle too. Around
Who
here.
is we?
Skiers.
I haven't.
You've seen them.
Where?
I don't know, but they've been on trail maps. I'm 100% sure of it. So it's basically
the
like
combo.
A steeper groomed trail. Whereas I feel like the double blue square is more like a more natural terrain, mellower trail. If you think about like lower.
I would have gone, like, my mind would have said the opposite.
Okay. Like lower national here at Stowe. Like mellow pitch, but they let it bump up.
Yeah, or like lower gulch.
Yeah.
That was the first trail I thought of.
So like that stuff is, the terrain dictates that you need to have more skill. But, inevitably, if you have 120 trails at a mountain,
you can't have 4.
You need 120 individual designations.
Yeah, like you're always gonna have some consistency if you've got 4 or 5 different classifications.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we also got an article on Snowbrains from author Greg France, which kind of highlights the same thing, that there's just so much discrepancy among trail ratings, whether you're looking at one individual resort, in this situation, Big Sky, or say you're comparing Lost Valley in Maine to Jackson Hole.
Right. The Black Diamonds don't line up.
No, they don't. So it kind of raises this bigger question of, should the trail rating system change, and how?
Right. Yeah, because like where I grew up at Neshoba in Massachusetts, like the way that they do it now, the hardest trail at that specific mountain gets the Black Diamond or double Black Diamond.
Right.
But it's not consistent from area to area. So like you were saying, doing a Black Diamond at Lost Valley is very different than somewhere else. And even like throughout the day, like picture Vailback Bowl, the groomed part versus the non-groomed part, and then they groom it midday, and then it becomes more accessible again.
Right.
So there's an infinite amount of variables.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Yeah, there's not like an easy answer.
Yeah, and the ultimate idea is like skier safety. You don't want people overestimating their abilities because they skied a Black Diamond at Neshoba.
My two favorite solutions both wouldn't work. For two, like, what I consider unfortunate reasons that are not specific to skiing, that are specific to society in general. So I would love the idea of having, say, like a numerical rating system. Say it was like 1 to 10 of overall difficulty, and then you'd have some sort of like measurement of average pitch and expected snow conditions. Yeah. But the problem with that is it require people to learn that system. Right. And people aren't going to learn things. Right. Like that, humanity and society has proven that over and over and over again. Right. The other thing that I would love to see, and is how I think about a mountain when I go ski there, is no trail ratings. Interesting. Just a free for all. You're on your own. This is a Lord of the Flies mentality out there. I've always thought that that's the best and most responsible way of being a skier. Yeah. If you're not relying on trail signs and you're making your own educated decisions based on your own analysis of the terrain. Well, we've talked about this before. Like, skiing's a crazy sport in that you can just rent your stuff, buy a ticket, and then get whisked to the top of an enormous mountain and said, you're on your own. It's insane. But those people need something. I know. Like the colors. No, I understand. Like they need to at least learn that green is this way. I understand why it won't work. I just wish it would work. I think that would be I think that would be a very fun way for accomplished skiers to experience a mountain. I think it'd be yeah. Like, doesn't that seem like fun to you? It seems fun to me. Like, you just there's no trail map, there's no ratings. Right. It's a mountain with some lifts on it. Yep. And you go up the lifts and you scope out lines and you're careful where you go, and you it's like backcountry skiing, but there are lifts. Sounds like Silverton. Yeah, but there's groomers and stuff too. I don't know. Those are both dreams that will never happen. Well, obviously. And then you also know here at Stowe, on one day, if your numerical system, you could give it on a day that's icy, all right, everything gets a bump of +2.
So what was yesterday a 6 is now an 8.
But that's why I like the no trail rating signs, the no trail rating even more.
Yeah.
Because things change. Like, what's nosedive like on a perfect pack powder day? Perfectly manageable.
Yeah.
Beginner skier could get down it. What's nosedive like when it's like refrozen bulletproof and they open it anyways?
Right. And you can't see. Like visibility is a huge factor
it's
too.
It's like one of the most challenging things you're ever going to do, and it's really scary. And I like the concept of people assessing risks and making those decisions based on their knowledge of snow conditions and terrain and what the mountain has to offer. But again, that's never going to happen.
Never going to happen. They need the colors are at least filtering people in a reasonable direction.
So what's the more realistic solution? Just more colors?
I guess, I think a 4th color would help.
Well, where do they have red?
Europe. Yeah.
And is red in addition to something or in place of something?
That's the limit of my knowledge of red, is that they have red.
Do we need triple black diamonds more? Like, triple black diamonds to me always felt like kind of a novelty.
Yeah.
Like black hole. Where am I pointing? The wrong direction.
Black hole.
like black hole at Smugs. Yeah. Like, it's right next to...
Yeah, but there's a million things that aren't on the trail map that could just as easily be labeled a triple black diamond and
right. Well, that
that
opens a whole nother conversation of what about the things that aren't labeled?
Right.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think a 4th color is helpful.
What would the 4th color and shape be?
I don't know. Didn't we have something that was like indicating a park?
Orange.
Like orange something? The
orange
oval.
Orange oval indicates a terrain park.
So that's a good way.
I like when mountains indicate no grooming.
Yeah.
With like you see it in like slash mark or like kind of hash mark coloring or not full coloring. Like stripey.
Yeah.
That helps.
I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out.
Do you think any loss prevention, risk management departments at major ski resorts are going to be reaching out with job offers for me?
Not for your free-for-all idea. That's going to get buried.
I think my voicemail is going to be full already.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think we covered everything there. Probably talked about that way too long, actually.
That's a great discussion.
And then last topic of the week, I would love to get his opinion.
Yeah. He would have something good to say.
He would absolutely have some really profound stuff to say about this conversation. And unfortunately, Dr. Robb Gaffney has passed away. It didn't come as a major surprise to anybody, but it still feels like a bit of a shock to the system, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, because he wasn't very old at all.
Right. So he has passed away after what was really a multi-year battle with a pretty specific type of bone marrow cancer. And I can't even begin to say enough about Robb Gaffney and what he has provided to the sport of skiing, but I sure am thankful that he left his mark on the sport because I think I benefit from it.
Totally.
As somebody who enjoys skiing from more of a freestyle, freedom, let's go have fun perspective.
Yep.
I think we owe a lot of thanks to Robb Gaffney.
Yeah, and just like showing it to the world too.
Totally.
You know, from like a filmmaker standpoint, like in my life chronologically, it's like Warren Miller, Stump, Gaffney's.
Sure.
Like that was it.
Yeah.
And that's like how influential that setup was.
Yeah. No, if it wasn't for the Gaffneys and Shane McConkey, where would we all be today?
Skiing a lot more rigidly.
Yeah, and just boring.
Yeah.
We'd probably be snowboarding.
Or ski racing.
Either snowboarding or ski racing. But anyways, so yeah, I'm not going to attempt to say too much about Robb Gaffney, but it's very sad. Obviously, he was an incredibly influential skier and mentor to other skiers. really accomplished psychiatrist specializing in risk assessment and youth action sports, especially in his kind of later years. And Bob, this feels like a perfect transition into our edits of the week, because the first edit of the week is Nar, which has got to be, if not the greatest ski film ever produced, one of the greatest ski films ever produced.
There's a lot going on in that film.
It's pretty awesome.
It's got everything.
Yeah.
You know, from like real life stories, really good skiing, humor, like inspiration, like interesting human interactions. Like it's really got a few levels.
So would highly encourage you, no matter how many times you've seen it in the past, to sit down and give Nar just at least one more watch, start to finish, or at least, you know, an immediate watch, start to finish, to honor Robb Gaffney. And then second edit of the week is, were we going with Rasha?
No, I think it's
Raha? Raka.
Yeah, I would go with that.
It's either Racha or Raka, or who knows. Racha, a 10-minute backcountry ski film from Andy Hardy, which had some very impressive cinematography. I'm always, as somebody who dabbles in video production and skiing and stuff like that, there's a lot of work that goes into those. Even like a 10-minute film like this, like there's so many shots. It takes a lot of work.
One of the things that I liked about that is how closely it mirrors the real life experience of a backcountry ski trip, with like 7 out of the 10 minutes of this movie are not skiing.
Like taking skins on and off.
Hiking, camping, snow testing, traveling, like everything else other than the skiing. So it really kind of mirrors the real life experience.
No, that's kind of, when I was saying that, I was thinking specifically of it's like a 7-second clip in the film where it's like a few different shots of people taking their skins off. And each shot was like really well done with like a little bit of slow pan, and that's like, it takes a lot of work. So hats off to those guys.
And this is the second edit we've had like over the past few months featuring the Georgian mountains. Really pretty impressive.
Cool. Take a trip.
I'm interested.
Okay. And then lastly, we have the Season 5 teaser for the 50.
This looks like hard work.
Yeah, so much work. Yeah. They're always fun to watch.
Do they ever take ski lifts? Sometimes.
I mean, like, that the skiers that are in these films, yes.
Okay.
Highlighted in the 50.
They know it's a lot easier, right?
I don't know. We might need to call them up. Call Cody Townsend and be like, hey, what are you doing? You know, they make these chairlifts, right?
There's this whole infrastructure.
Yeah, and there's more than 50 ski resorts.
Right.
He could make it the 550, and you're going to have way more episodes.
You could do 50 just in New York.
What are you thinking?
Yeah. Seems like a lot of work. But
do you want to start the 550? And it's just visiting different ski resorts.
Pretty much.
That'd actually be really fun. So anyways, that's it for this week's Ski Industry News. Look out for this mid-80 ski comparison next week. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. And yeah, we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.